All right, I know that was kind of silly, but it's because we're all wearing the same outfit and we didn't want you to think that you were watching the same show as you saw last time. The reality is that the topic that we brought to you last episode is an important topic, so much so that we decided that we wanted to give you a whole lot more information about the same topic. And thankfully, our incredible guests from last show have decided to do an encore with us for this show with a few twists. So we're super excited that you've joined us. We do have some new information for you as well. And as always, we invite you to grab yourself a beverage, make yourself comfortable, and don't forget, enjoy the show.
I'm sitting on the edge of love and happiness. Never experienced such a moment as this. So if you got that good feeling in your body and you wanna bring this moment to life, come with me, we'll hit the town. Let's go right now and live the life. I just wanna shine like the sky up like a sunset, living with no regrets. I just wanna shine.
Hi, my name is Abigail. I'm a junior reporter here at Act 3. Hi, Evan. I have some questions for you.
Okay, great.
How can kids help in the event of an emergency?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, I think the first thing we want kids to do is to take a deep breath and stay calm when something happens. And then if it's an emergency where they have to get outside of a building or something like that, we want them to look for the emergency exits. So those are usually on neon signs and things like that. And then just listen to grown-ups that are around, follow instructions, and just try and stay calm as much as possible.
So what should a kid do if they were to see a fire?
That's a great question. So if you see a fire, obviously we want to call 911. So anybody, above probably the age of 8 or something like that could probably call 911, right? Or you can tell an adult and they can call 911 for you, right? But then you want to try and give as much information about where it is, what it looks like, where you are, as much information as you can. And then you'd want to follow instructions, probably from adults or teachers or your parents who are around on what to do. And maybe it's to stay put, and maybe it's to find an emergency exit and go to a safer place. But yeah, there's a few things kids can do when they see a fire. Does that help?
Yeah. One more question.
Sure.
How can kids help in an emergency planning?
Oh, when planning for an emergency, that's great. Well, planning for an emergency is really important for a whole family, right? So we want the family to be prepared for emergencies for many days. And I think kids have an important role in that, and helping their parents, encouraging their parents to get prepared and building emergency supply kits and having some food and water for you and your parents and your pets and things like that. And then thinking creatively about some things that you could do that are fun in an emergency, keeping some board games around, having some candles in case the power goes out for a day or two, things like that. All kinds of stuff that kids can do to help out in getting a family prepared if there's a major emergency.
We have big kits in my house. They're big red bags with big pluses and stuff.
Kits.
Yeah, we have the big kits with the water and blankets and.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so those are emergency supply kits. So you can either buy those as one whole kit, or you can go out and build them and bring all the things together. One of the things I like to think about is what would we have to do if we were camping at home? So if we had all our camping supplies and we were doing it at home, that's something to think about, maybe something fun to do. So what do you like to do when you're camping? Think about doing that at home for a few days if there's a major emergency. Does that help?
Hi, I'm Teresa, and I'm so glad to have Valerie Black with me here today. We are talking about pets first aid, and keeping pets safe during natural disasters or heat domes. Valerie is a certified pet first aid instructor with Walks and Wags. Welcome, Val. It's so nice to have you with me.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
So obviously, our pets are our fur babies. It's so important for us to make sure they're safe during the summer heat, and especially during disasters. They're as important as other family members, as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely, yes. And a lot of people don't have kids, and their pets are their kids.
Yeah, they really are. So, what are some of the things that we really should watch out for in the summer heat as far as our pets are concerned?
Well, even just walking on the pavement, when I'm teaching pet first aid, I actually have a photo of a dog whose paws are completely burned off, and it was just from walking on the sidewalk. So really, they do make booties now that can protect their paws. We bought some from our dog. We took her to Invermere Beach here in Nanaimo, and we were just walking from the entranceway over to our car, and she was lifting her paws, and that's the first sign that it's too hot. So we bought booties. They have little aeration holes on the bottom, but they protect them from the heat. That's really important. And always have water with you. They have lots of little portable bowls and carriers for water for your pets. So that's important too.
Yeah, that's really good advice. And I've heard that we should, if we're going to take our pet outside and we don't have booties, we should put our hand on the pavement. And if it's too hot for our hand, it's too hot for our pets.
That's exactly right. Yes. And I mean, and you should put the back of your hand down because it's even more sensitive. And if it feels too hot, then no, you shouldn't be putting the dog's paws on there. We, in fact, when she started doing that, my husband carried her to our car, and she's a big girl.
Wow.
She's a lab. So, yeah,
Well,
we just didn't.
yeah, I'm sure she appreciated that.
I think she did.
And another thing that we really need to watch out for in the summer heat is not leaving pets in a car.
Yes, it's still happening, and I just don't get it. There have been a couple of vets who have done studies where they've sat in the car and rolled up the windows, and it's been, maybe 22, 23 degrees Celsius outside, and they're starting to sweat. They're starting to panic after just a few minutes. So, just if you're going to go out and you're leaving your dog, don't take them with you. If you have to go shopping, leave them at home, unless you're willing to keep the windows right down. Some people do keep their cars on with the air conditioning, but then they risk the chance of people seeing a dog in a car with the windows rolled up and they don't
Yeah.
understand the air conditioning's on. So they might want to put a sign.
Yeah. Don't, right? Don't
Yeah,
take
just
your
don't.
pets with you.
Yeah, just leave
Yeah.
them at home. They're happier.
So Val, how about being prepared for a disaster? Like obviously, a lot of people have earthquake kits that they can take with them. Is there such a kit for a cat or a dog that we should have prepared, ready to go?
I don't know if they have any prepared ones for sale, but you can always do your own kind of go bag. It should contain dry food and or canned food, because like our dog eats raw, but it's not safe to take it with you. And if you have canned food, if you can't open the can on its own, you need a can opener. Remember that. If you have a cat, you should have a litter box, or at the very least, a bag of litter with some newspaper, some treats to bring with them, crates if you have them. There are foldable crates. We have one for our dog, and then a crate for any cats. Um, Toys, something that reminds them of home and makes them feel comfortable. A blanket even, or a bed if you can. All this stuff should be on hand, plus even your folder that you have for all their veterinary information. If they're microchipped, if they have a tattoo, have all those numbers in case they run away from you at some point. Just have all that information with you as well.
Well, that's great information, Val. Thank you so much for speaking with me today and talking about how to keep our pets safe in the summer heat and in the case of a disaster. So glad to have you with us.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure.
Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Kevin Wagner, and welcome to Act 3. I'm joined today with Chad, a familiar face, Chad McGillivray. He's the owner of getmykit.ca. Chad, thanks very much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
You and I have chatted before. I think a lot of people are familiar with getmykit.ca, but for the people that aren't, what is that?
We are a locally owned emergency preparedness company, so we focus on helping people with personal preparedness, and that goes to, creating a kit, creating a plan, and educating your family about those.
Sure enough, the kit is kind of a one-stop shop for getting the items you might want in case of an emergency.
That's right, yeah. So having a 3-day survival kit, emergency kit for whatever emergency comes, it's a 3-day post-disaster. So if you're a part of an evacuation, fire, flood, earthquake, whatever the emergency may be, having a kit ready to go if you have to evacuate, and that's what we kind of specialize in.
Well, and it's funny because you say for whatever the emergency might be. I think I personally used to associate this as an earthquake readiness kit, but emergencies are far beyond just earthquakes, and today, as much as any time, we're seeing a lot more than just earthquake preparedness. This is emergency preparedness, evacuations, fires you mentioned as well.
Yeah, oh, for sure. So it started as an earthquake kit. That's what kind of how this company evolved and started, was me building an earthquake kit, but it has evolved into much, much more than that. These kits are recommended provincially and federally across the country. In every region, it's recommended to have a 3-day survival kit, or emergency kit, they call them, Canada-wide. And that's really what we specialize in. So we have provincially regulated kits, and then we also have a deluxe lineup of kits, which, adds heating and cooking and all of these kind of extra comfort items.
And I understand the kits, they can come in various sizes depending on the size of your household. I think you have them for 1 to 4 people potentially, 2,
Yeah.
3, everything in between.
Yeah. We even have value packs. If you have a 6-person family or a 7-person family, we make those as well. We make them for the car and for your pets, and we have a whole lineup of kits.
And the vehicle one sounds like a particularly important one. You don't know if you're not necessarily going to be at work or at home in the event of an emergency.
Well, that's just it, for sure. You should definitely have something in your vehicle if you get stuck roadside, especially being here on Vancouver Island. It's one road in and one road out, like we're seeing with the wildfire in Port Alberni that's been cut off. So a lot of those people that may have been stuck up there, or with the Malahat, there's a lot of one road in, one road out. And so if you're stuck roadside for a day or two, having a survival kit in your car is very important.
A very critical component. And I guess when we talk about an emergency kit, that is a component of an emergency plan. So if you're not in your car and you're experiencing an emergency situation at home or at work where you have a kit available, that's one component of emergency preparedness as a plan, because you have ways for people to kind of consider what their plan is beyond just the kit itself.
Right. So it's kind of like 3 steps. So have a kit or build a kit, create an emergency plan, and then educate your family. So with the kit, having a 3-day emergency kit, you can download forms from the provincial government, a list to create. It should be basically like food, water, communication, flashlight, battery, stuff like that. Or if you're looking to buy a kit, you can go to companies like myself, or there's other ones around. But then the next part is creating a plan. And so writing down important information, such as personal information, copies of identification should be in your emergency plan, cash and small denominations. One of the biggest things that people don't do, which is the biggest thing that I could recommend, is creating a meeting place. So having a meeting place 1 and a meeting place 2. Most people and most families don't have a meeting place set up. The first thing that you're going to be thinking about when a disaster happens is your family. An emergency kit is going to be a great thing to have, and it's going to make you comfortable, but your first thing is, where's my kids, or where am I meeting my partner? And having a meeting place set up is really important.
Yeah, so it's so important to have the plan, like you say, because you'll remember to grab the red bag and head out the door, but you better have a plan about where you are you meeting friends, family. What is that grand plan? Right. People interested in getting the kit or shopping, certainly getmykit.ca. They know where they can look that up, but you do have a store here in the Central Island region?
Yeah, we have a store in Nanaimo North Town Centre. We just had our 1-year anniversary. We are right across from London Drugs, right in the Northtown Mall. We'd be happy to help you there. You can give us a call or go onto our website. Yeah, lots of resources available.
No, that's great. And I've looked at the website, and I know from talking with you that the kits, they have a lot to offer, and I encourage our viewers to check it out because it has just a good component of an emergency preparedness plan. So thank you for the kit and sharing us some of your thoughts on that.
Thank you for having me very much.
Thanks for joining us. I've been chatting with Chad McGillivray of getmykit.ca.
I'm curious about our own situation here in the province. And from a leadership perspective for Vancouver Nanaimo Ladysmith, what would you recommend that people really think about when it comes to emergent response? Because we know that this summer could be very dry. It could be very dangerous for people. What are you talking to about at the federal level? And what could you tell us as a community leader?
Yeah, I mean, the impacts of the climate crisis are all around us, and it's heartbreaking to see what's happening in Alberta right now. It was we're seeing it firsthand here in the past with the heat dome, with the forest
Yes,
fires. This
absolutely.
is not something that's exclusive to Alberta and very, very real to us right here at home as
You bet.
well. First, in my position federally is constantly reminding ourselves that we are in a climate crisis and we need to be considering what we're doing, how we're investing in clean energy, how we're investing in solutions to the climate crisis, and not continuing to make decisions ignoring the fact that this is happening. I am the critic of fisheries, oceans, and Coast Guard. And so a lot of my work has been focused on ocean protection, protecting wild Pacific salmon, all of our marine ecosystem. It's just such a big piece that's interconnected to us in coastal communities. And there's tangible things that we can do that can, just to bring it to a couple of specifics of the work that I've been doing in my fisheries committee, but I've been doing a lot of work right now, which I'll have more to come around the derelict and abandoned vessels that continue to pollute our oceans. Also around, right now we are seeing fish farms that are continuing to pollute our oceans and pollute our surrounding marine ecosystems. And so that's been something that I've been pushing really hard, is for us to, at a time when our marine ecosystems have so many challenges already with the climate crisis, with warming oceans, we need to not be having additional barriers in our marine ecosystems' health. And so that's one piece that we've been looking at. But bigger picture, we need to see the Liberal government putting an end to subsidies to oil and gas. They are earning enough profits. They don't need public tax dollars. And we need to see that money instead going into clean energy. And so this
the funds.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we've been doing a lot of work on that, but ultimately, this is work that needs to happen at all levels of government, within our communities as well. But we need a strong federal partner to ensure that those decisions are being made that's putting our environment and not leaving anybody behind in the process. So this is a big piece that's interconnected with the climate crisis, is that we are seeing some experiencing disproportionate impacts more than others. We saw so many seniors through the heat dome that were rushed to hospital, how many people died through the heat dome. So making sure that we are putting into place to make sure that some people are not being disproportionately impacted. And then, of course, when we transition away from oil and gas, when we transition towards clean energy, when we transition away from fish farms, looking at the implications on coastal communities to ensure that all those who are impacted have transitions. And, these transitions, there's so much work. I look at, for example, oil and gas, I look at them as energy workers. There's so many opportunities for work and a sustainable future. So let's have us all working together in that direction.
Absolutely. Great advice. And I look forward to watching this unfold further at the federal level.
I'm Jeremy, and I'm back with Abigail and friend of Act 3, Craig the Magician, to show us another trick. I'm not sure if he brought Stephen the Chicken this week, but I know he probably brought some red balls.
Well, I'm going to avoid grabbing my balls on camera today, but what I am going to do is show you my ring. Now, this is a tungsten carbide ring. I need you to check this ring out. Make sure it's a genuine ring. Make sure there's no trapdoors. Make sure there's no hinges. It doesn't pull apart at all. Abigail, you have an important role as well. I have a fancy little red string. It's your job to make sure it's a genuine red string. What people will always accuse me of is either magnets or Velcro right in the middle, but I'd like you to verify it's a genuine string through and through. How's the ring? Any trapdoors? Does it pull apart at all?
Not made out of magnets or Velcro?
Does it twist apart?
Not that I
Perfect. I'll sneak the ring back. Oh, so sneaky-like. The string is good? Excellent. It's a real string.
Yes, it doesn't have any sneaky things.
Perfect. Now here's what's going to happen. I'm going to show you what we're going to do, and then we're going to do it. That way we're all on the same page. Sound fair?
Sure.
Perfect. It won't be, but it should sound that way.
We're not going to take our eyes off you.
Perfect, that's exactly what I want. Neither will the unblinking eye of the camera. Step one, we take the ring. We put the ring on the string. Stephen, Jeremy, I just called you a chicken. Jeremy.
Promotion.
If you look very carefully at this, you're going to notice one very important thing. It's boring. So we're going to move straight to step two. Step two, we move the ring to the middle of the string, bringing us to step three, and this is important. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hold, and I'm going to hide the ring and the string. While I'm doing that, I'm going to hand you one end of the string to hold on to, and I'm going to hand you the other end. Are we ready?
I'm ready. Are you ready, Abigail?
Yeah.
Perfect, so we should start then.
Yes.
Excellent, let's start. Do you remember how we start?
You hand us each an end of the string, or you hide it?
That's very close. That's right in the middle. Remember, to start, step one is where we take the ring and we put the ring on the string. That's step one. So, oh, don't worry, we just haven't started yet, that's all. So here we go, we're about to start. Step one. Step one, we take the ring on the string. Now, if you watch carefully this time, what you're going to see here is that it doesn't get any more exciting the second time around. So we'll move straight to step two. Step two, I move the ring to the middle of the string, bringing us to step five if you're a Monty Python fan. If not, it's still step three. Step three is where I hold, and I hide the ring and the string. Now it's still there, okay? It hasn't went anywhere.
I know.
Okay, it's right there. Okay, cool. There's that. Now I'm going to hand you this end here to hold on to. Hold on to it nice and tightly for me, that's important. You're going to hold on to this end here, Jeremy, nice and tightly, and you can pull. I don't need circulation. Cool. Now, here's the neat part. It's crossed over for a reason. If I were to start to move that ring, everyone here would see it, but even if we all closed our eyes and shut the cameras off, the two of you would still feel me. If I tried to get the ring through your hands, would that be cool? If I could reach under there and pull the ring off the string. Oh. All right, he's impressed, but it's going to take more. It's going to take more to impress you. I know. So let's one-up it. If I'm using that word now, if I could get the ring off without you seeing and without you two feeling, would that be so cool that you would instantly give me a huge high five?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Double high.
Yes.
Let's take a look here. Take a look here. Take a look here. There we are.
Let's give them high fives.
I don't get it.
That is the magic of Craig the Magician, craigthemagician.com. All of your family events are going to be up and down the island at a bunch of different festivals. Thank you so much for having me here
Be sure
today.
to check them out. Thank you, Craig.
Thank you so much for your help. So you just kind of grab that, and then you give it a...
You guys, my God, you guys are killing me. You're killing me.
These two are so much fun.
They're so much fun. Craig, thank you so much for being here. Jeremy, Abigail, you guys did such a great job with this interview. You know, I gotta say that it's so much fun for us all to be together at the best of times. But what I find really important right now is that people like you are really making difficult days the reason why we get up in the morning. And so on behalf of our community, Craig, I just really want to honor you and thank you for what you're doing, because there's a lot of people out there right now that are feeling the strain and the stress, and they're exhausted. And they're seeing things happening, you know, far away and close up. Canada, we know, is on fire, and emergent reactions for all kinds of things are happening. So thank you for keeping us in check and keeping our laughter going.
Thank you so much. In really any times, but in particularly the difficult ones, it really is where we get that chance to pull people out of the daily, bring them into that one moment, and relieve them of everything. If just for a moment, we bring the unreal out.
Thank you. In bringing the unreal out, we have to end with laughter. this last 2 episodes, I know you've seen our wardrobes and you're thinking to yourself, my goodness, don't they look fabulous? You're also hopefully thinking to yourself that I learned a lot. Because I know that our team, we work really hard to make sure everybody here, our entire crew, we've got a great, great crew, and everybody is really trying to just make sure that we're taking care of you as we take care of each other. And so we ask you to keep tuning into Act 3 and really share it with your friends and make sure that you're checking out the comedy in your life despite sometimes the sorrow. We are so delighted that you tuned in today. And with that, we'll see you next time on Act 3.
I just wanna shine like the sky up like a sunset, living with no regrets. I just wanna shine.